Okay, we'll be punctual. It's 4 o'clock, and I will call the Housing Commission meeting for February 27th together here. And we've got a full house, so I don't know if I technically need to do roll call or not, but everyone is here. So Malia can put that in the notes, so. Okay, I guess our first order of business are the review of the minutes from the January meeting. And if anyone has any corrections or comments, please do so. And if not, we'll ask for a motion to approve those.
Make a motion to approve the December, January.
Second.
Great, thank you, Yolanda and Gary. It's been moved and seconded to approve those minutes from last month. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. So next we'll go on to financial reports for the same month. And again, ask for any questions or corrections. Joyce, you're our one who normally catches things, which I think is great. I think. Yes, I meant that as a compliment to you. So if everything looks good, would someone entertain a motion to approve those?
Make a motion to approve the financials for January.
Second.
Great, thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the financial reports for January. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Now, I guess the occupancy report, which we really don't have too much to show these days.
Make a motion to approve the occupancy report.
Second.
Great, been moved and seconded to approve our occupancy report for the month of January. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Those pass. Now, I see we're on to this, yes, this resolution. Does other people have handwriting updating theirs, or is that?
This one.
Oh. Okay, well, I'm sorry, I was. Not of the legal action, this is the resolution. Okay, I'm sorry. This is something with some,
Oh, yes, so you've got this. This is just the resolution. And then this is the additional documentation provided by, because we were required to have legal review as well. So we're proposing with this, let me get back to my mic.
okay. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. We put this matter before the Davenport Housing Commission to finalize the closing out of the public housing. So as part of the closeout process, we have to receive approval and have the board certify that there's no real or personal public housing property, no outstanding litigation claims or audits, or civil right matters that exist, or adequate assurances in places to ensure compliance with prior HUD approval. And so HUD does mandate that we go through a proper process to close out. As you are aware, we finalized the closing of public housing units on November 30th. And the Davenport Housing Commission provides oversight for this program. And as part of the housing process, to close out public housing, we need the approval of the Davenport Housing Commission to certify that we are in compliance with regulatory actions that are required to move forward with the closeout.
It's why are we doing this? I'll use a legal term, ex post facto. It's been done.
Be But there are several steps, in fact, to cover there are several legal steps that actions that must be taken forward in order to close out. For example, we have to close out of our operating costs, as we've done. We have to close out, so some of the mandatory closing out activities. Any outstanding legal matters, we have to oversee the resolution of grants and approvals so that we have to ensure all of our terms and conditions, obligations, or any repayments have been closed out as well. All of our audits for our fiscal years have been closed out. So all of these actions and activities must take place in order for us to officially close out of public housing.
Okay, here's another question I have.
Okay.
Has there been a public announcement of this in case somebody may have some questions, lawsuits pending, claims against the city?
So we have to, we'd be advised by legal, so legal looks into it. There was one pending civil rights claim, but that has since been absolved for public housing. But as I am aware of, I'm not aware of any pending claims. We've investigated those pending claims that were open prior to us closing. Officially selling the public housing units have been resolved. As far as the announcement for the sale of public housing, so that others are aware, those announcements have been made out public. We publicly announced that we were selling public housing. So since that has taken place, there's been no other litigating activities, as far as I'm aware of, that have been brought forth.
Nor other communication that it has, about this, that it has been sold?
Since the 30th of November, when we made the announcement that this is the finalizing the sale of public housing, there have been no other announcements that I'm aware of. Is there something that the Housing Commission is requesting that I'm trying to find out?
I guess
Understand.
this seems to be something that we're doing after the fact to me.
It's HUD,
I didn't realize that this maybe should have been done when the city was going through this whole process, which has been a long time.
we were not, from my understanding, and Bruce isn't available right now, but we weren't aware that this was something that we would have to do at this time, that it, I agree, that this should have been part of the
HUD
ongoing
makes you aware
process.
of everything.
Yeah.
That's why this thing is gone, I'm sorry for, that's why this thing has gone on so long.
Could there have been some things with, selling and this closeout and that couldn't really be done at the time? They have to be, like maybe some other bills were coming in that would need to be paid and that, so you really couldn't close out until those were all taken care
That
of?
is correct. Our operating and financial costs, if you look at the budget, our operating and finance, we still have some costs that were coming in January. And now we don't anticipate any, because we did no rehab. We had to pay out security deposits, and those were paid out throughout the month of, all the way up until December, because they had technically till December 14th to obtain housing. We had maintenance fees for those units that we were selling. So we have they kind of trickled in towards the end, and now we finalized those costs as well. But if I'm understanding what you're saying, the concern is that there was not a formal public announcement that we were selling the property, so that other claims could
And
be.
I'm not saying that the city should have said, hey, anybody wants to sue us or has a grievance, come forward, but I don't know why, I didn't realize this was part of our, but it's new for me, so I'm learning why we didn't have to go through this, but and you're fairly new. I'm not blaming you at all. I'm just questioning this announcement and how public things are, and I don't,
They had to be like legally published
well,
in the newspaper.
and people don't,
Or something.
and maybe it was, I don't always read the small print of the.
What happens if this resolution is approved and everything else, and something else comes in next month?
That is a question for our HUD rep. We did discuss that. For example, if someone had owed the PHA money, we've closed our books on that. What's the next step? They don't provide us a whole lot of guidance in this document with regards to that. So that's something that we're working on with our HUD rep.
And all civil suits have been settled?
Correct. This is why we have the legal document from our assistant city attorney.
I guess the process is the thing that has me questioning, since we haven't been through this, and it just seems to be we're doing stuff after the fact instead of. And maybe we should have been made aware that this was going to be a procedure. or one of the steps. I mean, everything else, and I know Bruce isn't here, but, you know, every other, you know, I understand I's being dotted and T's being crossed, but that seems like,
Does this have to be
I don't know.
adopted today? Can we have some time maybe to think, as maybe if we do a little bit more thinking, we can come up with other questions
Sure.
and Bruce can check into it?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll absolutely.
or
look into
ask
that.
if, can Mallory or her boss, Tom Warner, come? I'm not trying to cross-examine them, but I would like to ask a few questions, if people think,
That would be great. And if you could provide me with your questions, that way I can have an opportunity to give Bruce, or, because again, some of this was formulated before I started, but as far as I'm aware, in my communications with HUD, as we were trying to close out, once we sold the units, they told us that this is another step in the process that we have to complete. So I know Bruce is,
Us signing off on the resolution to close out the public housing, but also to make sure you're in compliance with applicable, whatever. close out,
Applicable.
Thank you, activities. And so if this is another step, obviously, I don't think just bring that to us and say, here, can you adopt this without really knowing what that extra step is, other than giving it to us on paper. I definitely want to postpone on voting for this because I am going to dissect it. And it could be nothing. I might have no further questions, but I don't want to sign off on something that I thought was already completed. But if there's another step, why is there another step? Other than you needed to get, you're saying,
so we,
other financial things such as civil cases, lawsuits, bills.
operating funds, yes, all those things have to be finalized before we could actually apply for the closeout. So, and those things, as you know, because we just sold the property at the end of November, those things can go over a couple of months, as it did through January, if you see in the year-to-date report. But, and then we have to have legal review it as well, and go through to ensure that there are no pending civil litigations. And then once they have gone through all of the different steps, all the different criteria that's established in PIH Notice 2019-13, then we move forward with board approval.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't we already support this resolution?
Last month, we had the resolution to increase the payment standard waiver. If it was done before, I introduced it in December. We were going to be working on completing this because it was when it was first introduced to us that we had to have this completed before we closed out public housing. And I didn't bring it forth in January because we had the waiver. And so, yeah.
here's a question to ask the legal team. I never thought to ask this before until we're talking about legal stuff. I do serve and have been on other citizen commissions. And for that, we pay for liability insurance. Could we, as a citizen advisory committee, do we have any liability by anything that the Housing Commission had done in the past or could do in the future? And are we covered under maybe a city umbrella? I don't know. That's a, I mean, for civil rights, other things, I mean, I don't know. That's something I never thought about till this moment.
So if I'm understanding you,
Yeah, I just,
Commissioner Weising, that you're concerned that there could be potentially unforeseen litigation from years ago that we're unaware of that could be brought forth and
I
was
just
liable.
wondered if we as a commission, as a whole or individually, a lot of times when you hear about lawsuits, they name anybody that might tangentially have any involvement in something. And I don't think we do, but I don't know. I'd like to, that's a question I'd like to ask. And if either Mallory or Tom Warner, the city attorney himself, wanted to stop or could answer before next month. Or at our meeting, but I don't know. It sounds like if it's a consensus, if we can at least hold this off, table it for,
If this is something that she's, I don't further know, but if this is something that she brought to us in December, I'm gonna have to go home and look through my paper. I mean, I don't have any issues with that. I was just getting confused. I thought we had already voted on this. But apparently it was just brought to our attention. And that's what my concern was. If we've already voted on it, something must have happened. And that's why I wanted to look more into it. But if we did not vote on it,
well, I guess Gary used the correct term. It's been moved to table this until next month, when we can get some more information. Is there a second for that? Okay. It's been moved and seconded to table this until next month. And anyone that has questions, apparently we need to prep the legal team on that, which I understand what they
If I could ask one quick question, try to help me understand some of this. What is PIH?
That is a HUD acronym I don't have an answer for. I think that's just the way they categorize the notices is the PIH number. I don't know, I'm sorry. That's just how it's always been in front of the notices, so. But I can get you some more information on that. Yep.
Okay, anyway, it's been moved and seconded to table this until next month. All in favor of tabling, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. So,
public and Indian housing. So it says for HUD. Public and Indian Housing.
India.
It says HUD, the PA,
I didn't think that was,
but, okay, no, the Office of Public and Indian Housing, PIH. Thank you.
okay. Anyone else have anything? And I didn't look at my calendar yet to see what. Next sprint, see what next month brings us. 20th? That,
Works for me.
not a holiday, it's after St. Patrick's Day, so. Okay, well, I'll ask for,
So, just for
oh,
clarification.
I'm sorry.
This is going to be tabled till next month, in case people have questions. Is that what's going on?
That's my understanding. And I'll see if I can't get a member of the legal team to participate. So if you have any legal questions, we can address those.
So it'd still be beneficial if we can maybe email you the questions and that way they can,
Yes, please, yes. That way they'd
I
have.
think in the legal parlance, they call that discovery. They need to know what we're gonna ask so they can research it. And I'm not an attorney and I don't play one on TV, so.
So is there any consequences or anything for this to be delayed another month?
Nope.
I don't think HUD is ever in a hurry to do anything.
That's.
We've been finding out, this has been going on for,
I think we just need some clarification.
it doesn't matter what the administration is with HUD or in Washington. They're not a quick-acting group. So, okay, well, I will ask for a motion to adjourn then.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Well, I know that about HUD. My house is a HUD foreclosure.
Oh,
It took a while once I won the bid. Then I didn't know that you had to go in, they just basically opened